Good morning. Welcome to Morning Moments. Thank you for joining us today. You could have watched something else, but today you clicked onto our interview. Today's interview comes to us from Florida. She is a teacher. She is a actress, a songwriter, a singer, a screenwriter, executive producer and producer of films, but much more. I am so privileged to bring to Morning Moments. Deborah Paulsen. Debbie, welcome.
Well, thank you. So good to be here.
Uh, Thank you so much for joining me. And can I ask you just what do you do and why do you do it?
Well, I do many things. One, my day job is being a teacher, and I'm actually an exceptional student education teacher. And so I teach students with disabilities, but also students without disabilities in a blended class. And that was birthed out of me wanting to spend more time with my kids, but make an income. But also I've had two of my children had some sort of a disability, a learning disability. So I understood and had empathy for those parents, and I just wanted to be that bridge to aid in that gap. But I've been having a passion for years for singing, for music. I've been on stage in one fashion or another since I was about 13. But as I got older, I was singing on worship teams, and when I got here to Florida, I started it was a mega church here. So I would sing and lead worship in front of maybe 7,000 people a week. So that was fun and exciting, but it was just, obviously to be able to be used in any way, shape, or form to lead people to Christ, the message of Christ. I was also part of my children's worship team, and I was able to bring my kids along for that. So it was fun. They were able to do some dancing on the stage while I was singing, and actually created a CD, and it's been on many FM stations for Christian children's music. In Florida, it was Spirit FM. There were some in Texas and Oklahoma. It won some awards, and then I took that CD and made a educational CD, so that was able to be used by teachers, homeschoolers, parents. And then something happened in my life, and my son Justin took his life, and that actually was a turning point for me. I was the one that found him, and it really challenged my faith. So I think a lot of times we think that we're really strong in our faith, but until we are met with the challenge of what would we really do when we're faced with a situation that we can't explain. I think we don't really know fully what we believe until we get into a situation like that. So I was actually seeking answers. I couldn't understand how come I was the one that would usually get off the stage and pray with people, and I would see their mountains moved, by us having the faith of a mustard seed. So I didn't understand why my mountain didn't get moved. I had way more than a faith of a mustard seed, so I felt I did. And so I was, like I said, seeking. Actually, online, on social media, I had started seeing The Chosen, the little promos that they would do. I thought, well, why not? I can check it out. So I did, and I don't know, I saw the Bible presented in a different way, and caught my attention. I was also in the middle of, I was still training for music and opera, and so switching over to opera, I started being exposed to stage and acting. So then I got an interest in acting I was doing one of those perks where you can be one of the extras. And so is somebody that I know from there by the name of Gigi. She talked to me about Kirk Waller, an actor class. So then I started doing actor class, and really started gaining an interest in acting. And and then and I was faced, after I got into acting, with the reality of acting. So once you start getting into the field of acting, you then have to decide where your faith fits in. And and I was asked to do some things that are questionable. And I really felt like God was asking me the same question, like, why are you doing what you're doing? And I've guided you here, so what are you going to do with it now? And just even recently we really started thinking about this after turning down some work, like I said, that didn't line up with my faith. Um, and I felt like the answer was that I'm doing what I'm doing by writing films, being an executive producer, being an actress, because I want to reach the world with the message of Christ, whether that's through crossover films, ones that people that of faith will watch, but also people that are not of faith will be gravitating to. And then they might be just exposed to a little bit of faith, making them question, oh, who is this Jesus? Who is this Yeshua? Um, and what I found, that it doesn't just reach the people who are watching the films, but it actually is starting to reach people that are actors, that are actresses, that are cast and crew. And then they start to ask about Jesus. They start to ask about the message behind these films. And then they seem to want to now, do some more of these crossover films. They want to do more films that are aimed to reach people with either the gospel of Christ, or even if they're not full-on believers, with that message is a blueprint in life to be better people. And also I really just want to use any talent that God has given me, just to honor him. And bad things happen. So a lot of these films that I'm doing also reach out to people that might be struggling with things in life, mental health issues. One of the films I've done that's going to be coming out soon, called Just Hitched, it addresses PTSD, which is something that I've struggled with since my son's suicide. It deals with suicide awareness, it deals with spousal abuse, it deals with even human trafficking, which is an issue around here. So these are some things that are sort of taboo. A lot of people don't want to talk about them. Sometimes it's even hard for the church to talk about. But I found that through film, it's like some of these topics, they're not so taboo anymore. It's like you can watch them more in safety. So,
When I hear just a piece of your story, and there's so much more there, I'm sure. When I hear such a piece of it, I see that God has put you as a teacher in all these different places. I've often said those different walks and chapters in our life prepares us for the next chapter. And some of those things become what I call transferable knowledge, where I learned it back as a teacher. I learned it as a writer. I learned that's helping me today as whatever God has for you today. And sometimes we wonder, why did we have to go through what we went? Where, why was all of those things happening? But he says that all things work for the good who that are called according to his plan and purpose. Not that God likes all those things that happened, but he could take anything and use it for his good if we allow him to. And that's why as a storyteller now, you are allowed to take the worst of what's happened and bring the best into it to form that story so that people can see it. Like you said, some folks will see a film, but they'll never walk into a church, but they'll
right.
see a film.
Yes, this is so
And
true. Some people are
and
church hurt, but they still
yes,
are hungry. They're
yes,
hungry for God's word. I think we're made like that, to be hungry for God's word, and even if we don't realize it,
yeah,
and like you said, it's people that might not ever walk through a church, the doors of a church. Yeah, I mean, I don't know anybody that won't watch a film.
yeah. And when I hear of somebody like yourself and that has so many different things, I think about the most important thing that God asks for us is not what we can do, but our availability. Just saying, God, whatever you want now that I'm here at this chapter, what do you want from me? And he gently takes us to the place that we need to be. And
Yeah.
that's what's great about God's grace. And it doesn't matter our speed, how fast we're going. It matters our direction.
Yeah. Or the timing. Like, I was I was a little worried when I started moving over to acting because of my age, because I'm in my 40s and God doesn't seem to care. That's like he's I don't know, I felt like he said to me that all those how and when and whys don't matter. Just give my loaves and fishes to him.
Yes.
Let him
Yes.
multiply them.
Yeah, if we could be, and that's what both of us have got a little bit of background in children's ministry. And
Mhm.
I just love the thoughts of a child saying, Jesus, here are my loaves and fishes. You take them. And when we just take our fishes and our loaves of talents that are our experiences and say, you take them. He says, now that you've given to me, I'm going to bring them back, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. That's what I'm going to do for you. And it comes when we have surrender and we surrender and say, God, now I'm serving you not because I'm fearful of what you're going to do to me. I serve you because I love you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and that's something we had talked about shortly before we did this was his mercy. Yeah, and that was a revelation I had recently as I do think for a long time I was trying to do for him, do almost even though I knew you didn't earn salvation, just almost like I felt like I needed to or I had to be a good Christian. Um, but just recently I felt like he was telling me you don't have to do anything no matter
Yeah.
what, you're still my child. But you know, he just has mercy on us. So no matter what we've done in life or what we could do in life, we're not saved through that. We're just saved through his grace and mercy. And when I don't know, when I had thought about that, it just made everything feel so much different. Like, you know what? I mean, he just loves me just because he loves me. And now I wanna do things for him just because of that relationship I have with him, because I'm the bride of Christ and he is my groom, and we all are. And so now I want to give my life to him. I want to use my acting and my singing and all that I am for him, screenwriting, just because I love him. It's a new concept for me.
Yeah. What I'm going to do for Debbie, I'm going to be putting down below her credits of what she's done, websites and things that how you could get a hold of her. Some of you in the field, acting and film industry may want to get a hold of her, and there'll be some contacts down there where you can get a hold of her. And
Oh,
also,
and can I
go ahead.
mention, um, I will be doing casting soon for, I've had most of my casting done for something called the Still Small Voice. But I do need actors for something called a Courageous Vow, which will be a little bit about the life of Hannah, and also be doing something called Uncompromised, and that's about the book of Job.
Oh, boy, that sounds great. So there's a lot of projects in the future. This may be a God contact. I tell people a lot of times, these God contacts come. You may need to contact her for one of those, or you may just need to pass this interview on. Some of you listened to us and said, "This is right what I needed just at the time." God's never late. He's right on time. And I heard this just today. If it's just after it's recorded or a year after this video is recorded, it may be just the time for you. So please follow up with that. And more important than any of that, and those of you who watch Morning Moments know exactly what I'm going to say. I want you to pray for Debbie Paulsen. I want you to pray that God would continue to to give her the favor to continue to be with her in her moments if she's still grieving her son, that God will give her the perfect peace that passes all understanding. She needs your prayers, folks. And I know I say this a lot. She needs your prayers and you need the practice. But let me tell you, she needs your prayers. And so when you think of this interview, please take the time and pray for Paul. Debbie, thank you so much for joining me for Morning Moments.
Thank you for having me. You're amazing.
Thank you for joining us. And please pass this on, follow it in Abundant TV, wherever you're following it. And if you would, keep coming back for some more Morning Moments.